While many players may have travelled through these towns and villages, not many have stopped to take a second to see what these towns are really like. From villager interactions to interesting backstories, there is quite a lot of information you can find about the Settlements of Vesteria. Today, we take a deep dive into each individual town or city to find out more about them. What was once the greatest town in and around the forest, Mush Town has fallen victim to an outbreak of shrooms around it. While there are still a few people living there, what was once a quiet and peaceful place is no more, as most of their residents have moved away from the town, presumably to Nilgarth. With shrooms in such close proximity to the town, the mayor of the town, Mayor Noah, has hired some of the city guard to help protect the town. When talking to Mayor Noah, he tells us that the town has fallen on rough times, and on the outskirts of the town, at the Scruff's residence, Scruff echoes a similar sentiment. There is also an inn on the outskirts of Mushtown in which the owner says her son has gone off to the city, Nilgarth. Down the road there is also a dueling area which is used by adventurers these days. With many adventurers passing through the town, we can only hope that they can fix the shroom problem. When entering the Great Crossroads, one of the city guards proclaims that some believe this place to be the centre of the world, but he thinks it's only trouble. And well, he might be right. While the residents living on the main road seem to be happy enough to live here, there are some strange things that have gone on here. When talking to one of the residents, Farmer Sam, he tells us a story about how once upon a time a wise man was passing through the town and offered a favour to the good people of the town by creating scarecrows to ward off any potential threats. However, it seems like he had messed up the spell, causing the scarecrows to consistently attack the villagers and steal the villagers' hay. This act has caused resentment towards wizards in some of the villagers. The strangeness doesn't end there though. In a wagon next to the hayfields sits a girl who has a strange affinity towards cows. When you talk to her, she bellows out a loud moo. Another villager also has a horse as its head and neighs when you talk to him. What may seem like a normal town has some less than normal things going on here. In the heart of Vesteria lies Nilgarth, the main city and a hub for trading. The city, run by Baron Christensen, is the most populated town in all of Vesteria, and when talking to the townsfolk, a lot of them are quite rude and don't have the time of day to talk to adventurers. However, some of them are friendly enough for a couple of words. The town is heavily guarded, and as mentioned before, a few of the former Mushtown residents have most likely moved over here as well. The town contains many shops for adventurers to shop from and unique places with there being a marketplace, a bank, a cosmetic shop, a barber, a vendor, a blacksmith, a pet emporium, a science lab, a library, a section for gnomes to live in, and even a guillotine. With construction workers in the city and a construction site here, you would think that Nilgarth is going to continue to grow in size and wealth. Deep in the enchanted forest lies the peaceful Gnomeville, a very small population of gnomes living in a dangerous area of the world. With goblin camps and spiders lurking near it, this isn't the most safe place around. However, the gnomes seem to be happy enough here, apart from two of them who can be found arguing over who's better looking. There is a gnome just outside of the village, who was on his gnome after the other gnomes picked on him because of his glasses. You can either have a nice conversation with him and try to make him feel better about his insecurities, or you can send him to his eternal fate. At the base of the Tree of Life lies a small village. Not too much goes on here, but this is the residency of Albert Figgleglasses. In two of the houses are talking plants who are apparently married. They're most likely products of the Tree of Life though. One of the plants is owned by Albert the Gnome, and the area he chose to live in is quite a safe area, as there is no threats around. Other residents in the town do not welcome guests, as their doors are locked to adventurers. Built on the hills next to the Tree of Life, the Mage Fortress is a place of magic. While not too much is known about the history of the fortress, we can assume that it was built next to the Tree of Life to take advantage of its powers, and the fortress itself is a place to store and pass down magic. The master of the fortress is Greybeard the Old, who spends his days recruiting new mages. The fortress holds 4 masters of certain branches of magic: Warlock Asmiriadora of Ostrensvik, Sorcerer Einrich the Manor-Blooded, Bishop Johnson the Cleric, and Songweaver Ariel the Maestro. The Mage Fortress is definitely a fortress of magic. Above the clouds, nestled right on the edge of the bamboo forest, lies Tsushima Rise, a name most likely inspired by the game Ghosts of Tsushima. This town is a totally zen and peaceful place to live. This place is mostly safe, with the majority of the residents happy to live here. The occasional native tortoise might come out of the bamboo every now and then, but they seem to pose not too much of a threat to the locals. When speaking to one of the residents of the village, Ming Na, she spends her days staring at a hole in the side of a mountain, waiting for her sister to come out, but that sister is dead. Hidden deep in the bamboo forest above the town lies an ancient cave that leads to an omniscient effigy. It's safe to assume that the town was built in front of this place to help keep unwanted enemies out of there. Back down on ground level, right at the bottom of the Redwood Mountain, is the Warrior Camp, a place that typically warrior recruits and captains train. While there is not much going on in the camp itself, the warriors that are located here are currently in an ongoing battle with the Redwood Bandits at their outpost down the road. The camp has one big object that catches the eye though, a catapult that is powered by the Guardians near camp. On most sides of the camp lies threats from either bandits, guardians, or even bears, hence a couple of the recruits express that they would rather not be here. While it is a scenic enough spot in the Redwood Pass, it is not a very safe and pleasant place to live. One of the great structures in Vesteria, the Warrior Stronghold, located near the summit of the Redwood Mountain, is quite a breathtaking place to be. With snow falling out of the sky and a bridge with some amazing views, this is easily one of the most scenic locations in the game. Home to the Warriors of Vesteria, this place is a breeding ground for warriors. These warriors live and train in the toughest conditions, and many of the soldiers that pass through here are belittled by their superiors and some shunned to one side. Overlooking the training that goes on at the stronghold on both sides are 2 massive statues. Unsurprisingly, the biggest forge in Vesteria is located here to provide arms for the warriors. Led by their commander, Sir Tristan, he has some masters of the sword helping him out, with Justice Ivana the Paladin, Berserker Castica the Undaunted, and High Protector Jiraiya the Knight. It is most likely that the stronghold was built here to breed some of the toughest Vesterians around, with them training in freezing temperatures and at such high altitude. This place is not for the average Vesterian. Similar to the warrior camp, the hunter camp, located on the outskirts of Port Fidelio, is in a nice enough location with a cool view of the port, but surrounding it is a lot of trouble. Most hunters living here are too busy to talk, and with good reason. Surrounding the camp are ruby hives with swarms of rubies to watch out for. Me being a hunter, I decided to help them out with their ruby problems to make the place a little bit safer for them. After talking to the hunters and blowing up some hives, they have one less problem to deal with. On the other side of the camp lies a broken bridge, which is inconvenient for the hunters, as they have to take a slightly more dangerous route to return to the port. Up the path and through the entranceway is the Gauntlet Bridge, which lots of the hunters living at the camp occupy. Over this bridge, though, is arguably one of the most remote settlements in Vesteria. The Oasis Town, located right in the centre of the Whispering Dunes, is a place that can't be reached by the average Vesterian, due to having to traverse over long sand dunes either in the sweltering heat or the freezing cold. The town itself, built around the biggest oasis in the dunes, is a unique place, as it is located near some of the most ancient relics and figures in Vesteria, including the now repaired Sun Tablet. This town doesn't seem to be the most pleasant place to live though, as with the drastic change in temperatures, and the residents have reported loud whistling sounds that whip through the night, making it hard to sleep as they think something is whispering over the dunes. However, it's more likely that the sound is coming from the wind whipping through the crevices next to the town. The town is definitely one of the oldest and most historic, as there is even a museum filled with ancient weapons and robes. There are bandit camps around the town and stingtails in the crevices, but they seem to keep to themselves and not intrude on the city. Definitely one of the more fascinating places around. Finally, we have reached the port. Port Fidelia, located next to the old scallop shores and down from the Colosseum, is a town that is probably the most beautiful town of them all. With its unique design and exotic marine life, this place is a hub for seafood trade, piracy, and they catch some of the most crazy sea life at the fishing dock. Most of the residents here live a peaceful lifestyle and will regularly visit the only tavern in the land, the Salty Dog Tavern, which offers a nice place to have a drink and apparently good muffins. On the upper floor of the tavern is Admiral Hugo, who is in charge of the hunters. With him here are four of the most skilled hunters around, with Nightingale the Assassin, Green the Ranger, Mockingbird the Trickster, and Melody the Bard. The port is also home to the main guild hall, which sits alongside the port, and in front of the hall is a mad scientist who has transformed the Vesterian into a whale. There is also a man named Frank who suspiciously stares at chickens all day for personal reasons. I think I'm gonna take my pet chicken away from him. Port Fidelia is truly a one-of-a-kind place, however. Now, if you're still here, I'd like to say thanks for watching this video. I had a lot of fun making it. But some of you might have noticed that I haven't posted a video on here in well over 3 years at this point. And I'm not promising I'm going to be posting regular content on here, but I do have a few more videos similar to this thought out. So if you enjoy this type of content, let me know in the comments and leave a like. As well, I need to say sorry for the absolute trash microphone. My old mic broke, so AirPods had to suffice. The majority of this information in this video is all accurate, apart from a couple of things, which I've played up to make more sense narratively, so yeah. Anyways, I'll see you whenever I see you.